Okay, I just want to show you a little bit this whole folder, not folder, file. So this file that we have here in the script window. So we're not going to read through the whole thing now, but I just want to orientate you a little bit because it's probably looks a bit confusing or you don't know what's going on. So you'll get very familiar with it as we go on. We're going to use this same file, I think for the first 3 days, the first 3 sessions, and then we're going to use another one that's going to look a lot like this for the other sessions. So you'll get familiar with what's going on. The first thing to see is this whole part. We'll just call it the header for now. So all of this, just leave, do not touch it, because otherwise your code is not going to work. So if you're interested in what it is, I can explain it to you at another time. But for now, just don't change anything. There shouldn't be any extra spaces or anything. So just leave it as is. Even if your name is not Elis Masterop as mine is, just leave it. Okay, so you just don't touch that. Same for this little part here. So you see it says, it says setup basically. So that's what this chunk, we call this a chunk, a code chunk. You can see the it's colored a little bit differently, or a little bit highlighted. So basically this one as well, you just leave it. Don't change anything about it. So actually here where it says section 1, here your document actually starts. The part that you need to pay attention to. Okay, so this script is, as you can see, .rmd. So RMD is for R Markdown. So that's a coding. It's another kind of a type of coding language that produces a certain type of file, and it's just very handy. So you don't have to know what it is or anything. I'm just telling you that that's what it's for. R Markdown, and that's what this is written in, basically. So that's what these hashtags are for. So when there's one hashtag, that is, for example, a level 1 heading. If there's 2 hashtags, that's a level 2 heading. We'll talk about this more in a future video. I'll orientate you a little bit better, but for now I'm just telling you that that's what that is about. So if it's like a Word document, imagine a Word document where you have, you know, a big heading, a level 1 heading, and then a subheading, level 2 heading. That's what's going on here. So it's just to organize our information. Okay. What is very nice about these headings is that we can collapse and expand them so that we can get a quick overview of what's going on. So if you see right next to the hashtag there in line 17, yours is probably still the same. There's a little arrow there, and if you click on it, that whole section collapses. And I'm just collapsing it so that you can see that there's, you know, there's a level 1 heading. If I expand it again, there's a whole, you know, that's a whole section, section 1. Then lower down, there's a section 2. As you can see, it's the same. It has one hashtag, and it also has this little collapse button. And if I collapse that as well, you see even lower down, there's also a section 3. So if I collapse that as well, then this is an overview of our whole document. Okay, so basically it starts with section 1, and there's a section 2 and a section 3. And they are basically section 1, 2, and 3, or just they are the main sections of the assignment that we're working through. So section 1 is everything for day 1 and 2, I think, and then section 2 will be, I think, day 3, and then section 3 will be day 4. So, like I say, this is an overview of the whole project. If I expand again section 1, then as you can see there's more headings. It gives you the outcomes, so in each section it's going to basically have the same structure. It gives you the outcomes of what it is that we're trying to do with this section. Then over here it gives you an overview. So these parts, this part between, so this, like I said, is a code chunk. This part that's a little bit highlighted. Then this is a code chunk again. That's a little bit highlighted, as you can see. And in between, that's just normal text. So this isn't code really. This is just text. So if I export this file, this will just print as normal text. And so this is for your information. I'm telling you what's going on. This is section 1. These are the outcomes for the section. These are the files we're using. And then inside here that I said is a code chunk. That means there's code in it. So these things, if I run it like I ran before in the previous video, there's actually going to come results, or there's actually going to be some action happening. So in these parts, that the text, if I press enter there, this just works like Word. It's just normal. It just works like that. You press enter or backspace you can change that however you like. But once you're inside the code chunk, you can also do that. You can press enter or backspace or whatever. You can also type, but you must understand that when you type here, like we did before, 1 + 1, you're typing code, and you should be expecting an action to happen here. And like I said, if you run it, you're going to get a result. So running at the moment to run code, I will say this again in a future video, but it's basically you press Control and Enter at the same time. So when your cursor is in this line of 1 + 1, if I press Control and Enter at the same time, it runs. And you know it ran because you can see there's a result on that side. Okay, I'm just going to delete it again. You are free to practice this as we go along. Okay, and then this is the end of the code chunk. So you can see the code chunk starts and ends every time with these specific characters. And it has to have that. That's what's telling RStudio that this is code. In between those, it's code that's running. Okay, and then over here, there's a level 3 heading, which means it's smaller. It would be a smaller font, some text again, and then a code chunk again. And then, that's a whole code chunk. I'll explain all of this again, but so the white for now, this is the actual code. Here, the hashtag is not the same. It's not the same as this hashtag. So when it's not in a code chunk, this hashtag is just a header. It's just telling RStudio this is a header. When it's inside the code chunk, like it is here or in this line, that hashtag, this is a comment, basically. It's commenting out. We call it commenting out this line so that RStudio realizes this isn't code. When I write there, what is a tibble, that isn't code, that's a comment for you. I'm saying this is a piece of code, something's going to happen, and then I want you to think about what happened. I want you to think, oh, what is a tibble? Okay, so that's what the hashtags mean inside a code chunk. It's just, I want to talk to you, but obviously if I just write what is a tibble, R is going to think that's code, and it's going to give you an error because it isn't code. It can't produce a result. So that's what this hashtag is for. It shows that there's a comment. Okay, so that's a whole code chunk, then there's some text again, code chunk again, text again. So that's how the assignment is going to work. We are just going to go from the top together. We're going to go through this. I'm going to show you what it does. Then you pause the video, you do it as well, see that it does that for yourself. At the start, we're going to do it like that. I'm going to do everything for you and show you what happens. And then later on, you're going to start to write your own code. So I'm not sure that it even starts. So over here, this is how it's going to work. You're going to have a little assignment to do. So here where it says your answer, you're just going to put whatever you think. How is body mass index calculated? You're going to come up with the answer. And when you get the answer, you're going to put your answer here. So you're going to basically say, delete that part. And inside this, you're going to write your own answer. Okay. So that's what you can look forward to. That's how that is going to work.